Welcome back to video 4. Still waiting on parts, so there's really not much else I can do, but we do need to rebuild the head, so we're going to do that. The one thing I did get in was I got in, let's see if I can fit this under here, my complete engine gasket set, and this is from Outlaw, and I usually go with Vertex, but in this case I'm trying to save money on this bike because it's costing a lot of money to rebuild this motor as it is, and the Vertex full engine gasket set was in the $100 range, $110 range. This gasket set was 60 bucks or 50 bucks or something like that, so we're going to give it a shot. It looks pretty good. I don't see any issues with any of this stuff here. It all looks good. I got my valve seals here, as you can see in there, so we are going to work on the head because I can get that done. So if you guys have watched my channel in the past, you know how I rebuild heads. I'm not going to go over it again. Go back into my video archive, and there's plenty of videos that are that have the description head rebuild or replacing valve seals, stuff like that. So I'm not going to get into all that, but I'm going to pull the valves out. I'm going to polish all this stuff up. We're going to make it look really nice. I'm going to lap them in, and we're going to get going on that. So let's do it now. All right, so I hit that real quick with the brass wheel, and you can see that it's the valve itself there is cleaning up pretty good. I'm going to do the whole thing and come back when it's done. All right, the valves are cleaned up pretty good. Down inside this bottom, my wheel really won't go in there, but they're cleaned up enough. And I like to clean the valves while they're still in the head, so I don't damage the valve seats or the valve stems or even the valves themselves. And I did hit the surface on this real quick, but I'll do it again a few more times. Top and bottom. All right, let's pop the valves out. So I got my valve tool here. This is more along the lines for a car. So I welded this socket on here to make up the difference between the small head and the regular car head, which is a lot larger. And it works pretty good. Unfortunately, this only works for Honda heads. Most of the other heads that take shims, the valves are inside the head, and this type of spring compressor doesn't work. But it works pretty good on Honda heads, that's for sure. Just put it on there and clamp it, and that's it. And you grab your magnet, pull out the keepers. Release it, and that's it. And it looks like these are single spring valves. And like I said before, I want to keep everything where it belongs. And there is a intake valve, and it's pretty corroded. We're going to hit that on the wire wheel and the drill press and clean that up. And take a look at the seat, and the seats don't look too bad. They're a little worn, but we'll lap them in, replace the seals, and we'll be good to go. All right, valves are out. You can see there's some pretty good corrosion down in there. Grab a light. See, there's some really good corrosion in there. The seats themselves look pretty good. And the valve seals themselves don't look too bad. But we're going to pull them and replace them anyway. So let's pull those out now. And you just need a pair of needle nose. You grab them by the top, give them a little shake and a pull, and they come right off. Really not much to them. They just kind of snap on there anyway. That's it. And there's some We got some spaces down here as well, and I want to make sure we put those back where they belong, and I want to pull those out with a strong magnet if I can. I need 2 magnets. There we go. There's one of them. That goes here, and again we're going to put them back where they came from. There's the other one. And the only reason why they're difficult to get off is because they're kind of stuck on there with like a suction from the oil that's underneath them, which isn't really a big deal. So don't be worried if they don't seem like they want to come off, they'll come off. All right, so I think what we're going to do now is we're going to clean up the valves. I mean, you can really see how bad these really are. I mean, you can see the buildup on there. And that's an intake valve too, which is kind of surprising that it has that much oil buildup on it. So these, at one point, this thing's got some buildup too. This is the exhaust valve. So I'm going to say that it had some type of, it had blow by. At some point, this thing was run with bad rings. And the breather tube going to the air intake probably had a lot of oil in it, and that's the result. So what we're going to do is, or they just over oiled the filter, who knows, could be a lot of things. All right, so let's get going on cleaning this up, and I'll turn you guys back on when I'm done. Just want to show you what a before and after looks like. That's before. Oh, that's before. That's after. See the difference? And that makes a huge difference when it comes to the flow of fuel and air inside your motor. You can see the difference here. I'm trying to get out of the light here, but see if you guys can see that. Anyways, that's what's gonna that's the difference between wire wheeled and unwire wheeled. And I'm gonna make all the valves nice like this. All right, so I lapped these in. And I just want to show you real quick. So I got bluing, which is basically just a Sharpie. And I'm going to put the valves in here, and I'm going to spin them. And I just want to make sure that I'm getting good contact on the seats all the way around to make sure that the valve is sitting in the stem straight, or that these seats didn't wear a certain way away from the valve, so they're still perpendicular with the valve stem. And the way you do that is you just take the valve itself. And of course you want to do it in the hole that it came out of, which is this one here. Pop it in. And again, I'm not going to go over how to do the valves, the whole part of it, because I have multiple videos out there already on how to do this. Valve seals are back in. I got the metal washers on the bottom. Head's all cleaned up. I want to show you what it looks like before I put the valves back in. It's all nice and clean. It looks like brand new again. This is going to make a big difference. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean all the rest of this stuff up with brake clean, and I'm going to reassemble it, and I'll come back when I'm done. Well, the head's all done. It's all back together. All cleaned up, and it looks fantastic. I didn't get all the carbon out of the inside of these valves here. Not the inside, but inside these cups here, but most of it's out, and it is a lot cleaner than it was. I resurfaced the gasket sides, both sides. Everything's all cleaned up. Everything's back together. And we're ready to go. I think we could probably bench set the valve lash on this. So let's get set up and do that so that when we assemble the engine, it's all set. We don't have to worry about valve lash. We'll show you guys how to shim this out. But I lost one of the shims when I took the motor apart because when I took the cam assembly off, there was one stuck inside the bucket and it fell on the floor and I can't find it. So I'm sure I'll come across it at some point, but right now I don't know where it went. So this is 63,000. So let's see what this translates to. So it's 1.61. So let's see, I got a 1.6 that I'm going to grab out of here. I'm gonna put this one in this one. Actually, I'm gonna flip it around. And a little magnet here. And the 1.6 I'm gonna put in this one here. Looks like it's sticking up pretty high though. Let me switch them. That one in there. This one here. Yeah, I might have to go a little lower. It looks kind of high. Anyways, I'm gonna go lower than that because I think that's too big. We'll go with a 145. See what that looks like. Looks a little better. And again, this is just for jumping off purposes. And these are the two shims that I took out of here. I don't remember which one went where, so we'll just pop them in there for now. And let's see where we're at. Make sure the buckets don't fall out. All right, we're in. Grab my screws. We'll wipe them down. All right. So apparently one of them is longer than the rest. All right, let's just spin them down. Snug. All right. The cam should spin freely. It's hard to say. We got the decompression right there. Let me move that out of the way. Feels like it's moving freely. There's a gap under there. All right, so the cam's spinning free. So the intake is 6 thousandths of an inch, plus or minus 1, and the exhaust is 11 thousandths, plus or minus 1. So let's start with the intake and see how that is. Let me move these so I don't knock them over and lose them all. Boy, they sure don't make it easy, do they? Six thou goes right in there pretty easy. So let's see exactly what these are. Let's try a 10 thou. 10 doesn't go in. 10 goes in that one. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what the gap is. I'm going to subtract what it's supposed to be and then make the adjustment with the shim. So once I get my numbers, I'll come back and I'll tell you what I found out. All right, so what I found was this one is 15 thousandths, this one's 9 thousandths. This one here is 8 thousandths, and this one here is 16 thousandths. These are supposed to be both 11, and these back here are supposed to be 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back off. And we're going to remove this. Try not to lose anything. All right. And we're going to start with this guy right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to check the gap again and see how we are. All right. Shims are all adjusted. Everything's all set now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put oil on top of these. And I am going to put a little bit of oil on the buckets, so when they go in, they got a little bit of lube. All right. You always want to lube stuff up because you don't want it going in dry. All right, now we're gonna pop it on. I'm not gonna have to take this off again. The shims are set. We are good to go. The only thing I have to do is I got to take the cam off, the camshaft. I mean the gear off the camshaft in order to put the timing chain on, but we'll do that after. We can do that when it's on the bike. All right, let's torque them down. All right, we are good to go. All right, guys, I'm back. It's probably been a week and a half since I videoed last. Been getting over a cold. Same cold that's been affecting the planet over the last 2 years. So we'll leave it at that. And I'm feeling better now. And finally got back out to the garage. And this is pretty much where I left it 2 weeks ago. But it is done. As you can see, looks really nice, and it's all ready to go back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cover. I'm just going to put it on top to keep dirt and debris from getting in there. Like so. And I am going to set this aside. I think what we're going to do next is we're going to clean up the bore. We're gonna resurface both gasket surfaces, and we are going to slap a hone in this and see where we're at. So, and clean this thing all up. So let's get set up and do that now. First we clean it. That's what we always do. Clean everything up. Just gonna use a toothbrush. Scrub everything. All right, let's work on cleaning up some of this gasket surface. Scrape off what we can. All right, looks much better. Got most of the debris off. I'm gonna hit this again one more time before we're finished. Before I do final cleanup, that is. I wanna get this side now. That's good enough for now. Let's get set up to hone this out. Now I can still see plenty of cross hatching in here. Like I said, I think this piston was replaced recently, but we're going to run a quick hone in here anyway, just to make sure. Let's take a look, see what it looks like. Yeah, she looks good. I think we'll be good. All right, cylinder's done. I cleaned it all up with brake clean. I measured it. It is a standard size bore, 46 millimeter. I don't know if you guys can see how nice it came out with the hone. It's all nice and clean now. Top surface is good. Clean the outside. Base surfaces are clean for the gasket. I think we're in good shape. We're ready to assemble. I'm gonna set this aside with the rest of the parts that are finished. So I'm gonna end the video here. I think I got enough for another video. Like I said, I'm still a bit under the weather, but I wanted to get another video out so you guys don't think I disappeared. And we're still moving forward on this, and I got a ton of parts in the mill, and I will go over those in the next video. I'm still waiting on a few other parts. And once I get those in, we'll hopefully start reassembling some of this anyway. But there's still a lot of parts that I still need to get, and I need to finish my checklist off with what I have received to date, so I can concentrate on getting those remaining parts that I need. But again, I wanted to get a video out so you guys had something to watch, and just to know that I'm still working on this thing. And thanks for subscribing. Thumbs up, like, share, comment below if you have any questions. Yeah, other than that, I will post the next video as soon as I get it finished. And I want to thank you guys for being patient and subscribing.